Hello, Professor Laird here. This is a short video follow-up on the syllabus to the political ideologies class. If you haven't watched the previous video, which is the basic requirements for all of the online classes, please watch that first and then come back to watch this one. As I talked about in the previous video, that we're going to have video lectures each Monday and Wednesday morning. They'll be posted around 8 or 9 o'clock or so. Then a discussion forum will be posted after that, typically by around noon, and then you'll have until 9 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesday evenings in order to respond to that discussion forum for your attendance for that class. Course description, you can read it here, but we're going to be talking about the basic ideologies that have been very prominent in world politics for the past few centuries, talking about liberalism, conservatism, socialism, communism, fascism, Islamism, feminism, some other social theories. We'll also talk about democracy and democratization. Your textbooks that are required for the course, both of these are by Ball, Dagger, and O'Neill, Political Ideologies and the Democratic Ideal. Latest edition is the 11th edition. And then the Reader, which has articles that are previously published by very prominent philosophers, writers. These are called Ideals and Ideologies, a Reader, 9th edition. Everything will be posted on Moodle. Supplemental articles will be posted occasionally. What I'll want you to do is keep up with current events and world politics through credible news sources. Students will be also instructed, as we've talked about in that previous video, on how to access the library databases and the importance of peer-reviewed academic journals. They are so important, in fact, that I talk about them so much that in order to prevent writing it out every time, I'm just going to write out PRAJ, and then you'll know that it's peer-reviewed academic journals. Now, we've already talked about online course participation in considerable detail in the previous video. So let's go and talk just for a bit here about your paper assignment. Everything that was in the previous video applies here to your paper assignment. It's just for this class, I'm going to be providing a list of topics to choose from. This will be a list of philosophies, ideologies, and related isms that have been prominent throughout history. But what your paper will do after a brief recap of perhaps a little bit of history on this particular topic, what you want to do is bring it current. How is that particular ism or that particular philosophy or that particular ideology? And you'll see that list when I post it. You'll know what I'm talking about. But what you want to do is bring that current. How is that shaping politics today? Who does it affect today? What does it influence today? How, why, what for? So that's the key to this topic that you choose. Even though these philosophies may have been around for centuries, your job for your paper assignment is to, as quickly as possible, bring that up to current times as to what its effect is. And in some cases, some of these isms may have played out and they may not have much influence on the world today. And then that's what you would be analyzing with peer-reviewed academic journals as to why that is. Why did it play out? Why is it no longer effective or important, or it is, or how it might even be trying to make some sort of resurgence in today's world? Now let's look at the grades. This still applies from the previous video. You'll have 3 tests. Each test will be 20% of your grade. Keep in mind that there's no makeups, no extra credit, no extensions to any of the tests. You need to keep up. You need to follow along with the schedule and take that test on the day that it's given by that 9 p.m. deadline. Papers are 25% of your grade, no late penalty, no incompletes are going to be given for the course. Your participation grade is 15% of your grade, and you have to meet that 9 p.m. deadline each Monday and Wednesday evenings in order to get credited for your attendance for that day. There's no extensions for those missed forum deadlines. Don't send me an email asking if you can go ahead and post. It's done. We're moving on, going to the next day. The basic requirements for your class schedule: deadline to post for each discussion forum, as I said, 9 p.m. on each Monday and Wednesday. All assignments, whether it's a paper topic due, as we talked about in the previous video, or when your paper assignment is due, they will all be posted to a forum that I'll set up on Moodle, and the deadline to post those is 9 p.m. as well. On the day of the test, as we'll see here in a second on the schedule, those tests will be timed tests. You'll have 30 minutes to do those tests in one sitting, and then you'll have until 9 o'clock in which to take that test. You can take it at any time. The test will probably be posted by around noon that day, so you'll have a 9-hour window in which to take that test, which is 35 minutes time limit in one sitting. Let's look at the schedule here. First day of class, looking at these videos as you're looking at right now. Then chapter 1, beginning into the introduction of ideologies. Then I want to talk a little bit about the evolution of the modern brain, and most importantly, the modern state, because that coincides with a lot of things that are happening in the world as far as organized representative governments, liberalism, the beginnings of capitalism and democracy, and those types of things. Chapter 2 is actually talking about the democratic ideal, and then I want to expound on that a little bit deeper than the book does and talk about, in the next video lecture, democratic culture and democratization. Then I want to post a video that just talks about the paper assignment in general, some of the basic things to prepare for as you start thinking about your paper topic. I'll also post the list of the paper topics at that time as well that you have to choose from. Chapter 3, I'm going to break that up into 2 video lectures. Liberalism is a big topic, so part 1 will be on February 10th, and then I want to take a break because at that midpoint of the liberalism chapter, we touch on the Constitution, and so this is a good place for us to read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and have a discussion forum on that. And then on February 17th, we will finish up with another video lecture on part 2 of liberalism. And then the first test is on February 22nd, covering chapters 1 through 3, modern state, democratization, Constitution. After the first test, I want to post an additional video on the scientific method. That's extremely important as far as preparing for your paper. And then the paper topic will be due on that day as well. That is where you'll send me just a half-page summary in a Word file talking about what topic it is that you want to write on. Chapter 4, conservatism. Chapter 5 will be broken down into 2 parts: socialism through Marx, part 1, socialism through Marx, part 2. Then I want to post a video specifically on the peer-reviewed academic journals, how to find them, why they're important, how to cite them. Then we're going to have the spring break, March 15th through 19th. Then we're going to get into chapter 6, which is socialism after Marx. I want to break that one up into 2 parts as well. The next chapter is chapter 7, fascism, and I'm going to break that one up into 2 parts. Then test number 2 is on April 5th, chapters 4 through 7, and the scientific method. Final third of the class, chapter 8, liberation ideologies, and I want to add some additional information on that, politics of identity, which is the biggest source of conflict in the world today. Chapter 9, ecology as ideology. Then I want to post a short video on finalizing your paper. This is when the bibliography in progress will be due, where you'll give me what sources you have found so far for your paper. Chapter 10 is covering radical Islamism, and then I want to add a supplement to that, looking specifically at terrorism around the world. Next section, video lecture on white supremacy and hate groups. Also on that day, the paper is due. Make a note there. That should be 4.5 pages. Next video lecture is on cults and conspiracy theories. And then final chapter 11, looking at future of ideology. And then test number 3 is on May 10th. That covers chapters 8 through 11, including the supplemental lectures that I've added to these chapters. So that's the breakdown on the syllabus for the political ideologies class. So the next lecture will be looking at chapter 1, Introduction to Ideologies.